everyone, and Shavua Tov, Chag Sameach, Happy Hanukkah, everyone. So, we're in Parashat Mikkets, an amazing parasha. Genesis chapter 41, verse 1. ויהי מקץ שנתיים ימים ופרעה חולם והנה עומד על היאור. And it was, now if it was a movie, it looks like a movie, 2 years later. But it doesn't say 2 years later. Usually in Hebrew, 2 years later, שנתיים מאוחר יותר. Mikkets is a very harsh word.
Right.
Mikkets means demise, the end of, like total, like real ending without any hope for that.
Kets.
So what's, Kets. So what does it mean, Mikkets שנתיים ימים? And what's the story? Just to remind everyone. Okay? Last week's parasha was the hero, was most of the time Joseph, like the real hero. Joseph is becoming, we meet him in the beginning of the parasha, he's 17 years old, and we have this like most amazing story of Joseph that, okay, he's being betrayed by his brothers. That's good enough for trauma, for psychologists for the rest of your life. Thrown into a pit full of scorpions and snakes, right? And then he's being sold to those merchants, and they take him to Egypt. Potiphar buys him as a slave, and being there with Potiphar, one of the strongest people in Egypt, all over Egypt, he is a minister of Pharaoh, and Potiphar is smart enough to realize that whatever Joseph is touching, God makes it happen, because there's no logic behind that success. Okay, so he puts Joseph to become in charge of all of his businesses, and Joseph meanwhile is learning the ins and outs of the Egyptian economy, right? But he's a slave. Okay, then it says we get the story that Joseph is very beautiful, and the wife of Potiphar, she wants him, but he doesn't cooperate. So he's trying to avoid her, and then the day comes, she makes sure that nobody's in the house. She's trying to get him. He is trying to avoid her again. She is catching him physically. He leaves his clothes in her hands, and he sneaks out of the clothes and runs away. She is very frustrated. She's screaming, rape. Me too. And, of course, she is the mistress, and he is a slave. Her word against his word, he finds himself in jail. Okay? 10 years in jail. 10 years in jail. And ask is why. He was like, he kept his dream, he kept his values. He told her, I can't betray your husband. He's so good to me. She doesn't care, but he keeps his values. He stays clean. Okay? That's his reward. That's his reward, to be in jail. Other people say, I've done enough. Yeah, I don't care. I don't care about justice. I'll do it. It's better to be evil. How many people like this do we know?
Most.
Even personally. When you look in the mirror. I had enough. I was trying to be good. And you know what? The heck, who needs that? That's very normal. But we're not in this world to be normal. We're here to be not normal. Abnormal, super normal. Okay, and that is, so we'll come to it. Joseph goes into jail for 10 years. When the 10 years, he knows it's going to be 10 years. Why? How does he know it's going to be 10 years? There are many midrashim. There are many explanations about it, Kabbalistic, and some that are like hidden, Kabbalistic, hidden as non-Kabbalistic. But the story is very simple. As we learn in Parashat Vayeshev, no one gets greatness for free. Even if you are so righteous as Joseph. You know what? Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Such a great tzaddik, such a great soul. He had to sit in a cave for 13 years to get the Zohar. No free lunch. He had to run away from the Romans. Moses had to run away from the Egyptians. Everybody, Jacob had to run away from his brother, then from his uncle. You can't just have it this way. Why? And the story is very simple. You have always to reenact the rules. We are here in this world because we were created with endless light. Each one of us. We were created as creatures of light. That's why we have the desire, the cravings for the light. However, we were created in the image of God, and that's why we cannot get free gifts. We want to fight for it. If there's no fight, it doesn't worth it. Okay? No pain, no gain. Why do people say that? Because that's a cosmic law. It's not somebody sitting up there and saying, I like you, I don't like you, I'm going to punish you. That's nonsense. That's for children in the dark ages. Grow up already. We are creatures of light, but we can't entertain unearned light. We need to earn it. How do we earn it? We have the arena, we have a physical body, and the body is bad message. Why? The body is always the evil inclination. What is it doing? Always distracting. Always trying to avoid. Always trying to get us the idea why not to work. Why not? Why? Because that's a workout. Can you imagine working out in a gym without resistance? That's not working out. Just doing like this. That's not working out. Then you're doing nothing. You need resistance. The bigger the resistance, the bigger the muscle mass that you create. Right? No resistance, no muscles are being created. Okay? So everything, and also there's a resistance. You wake up in the morning, you want to go to the gym or you want to exercise, and your body says, no, you don't have to, right? You have to resist, first of all, laziness. You have to resist selfishness because you want to be a perfect human being. You have to get out of your selfishness. You have to be nice to people. But I don't want to be nice to people. I just want to see some movies in my phone, right? Being nice to people, that's wasting time, quality time with my beloved phone, right? Or with my beloved food, or with my beloved TV, and some other stuff. You have to get out and resist that temptation, overcome that. That's the name of the game. To become Joseph. Yay, Joseph was born with all the qualities. But the fact that you're born with the qualities, it doesn't mean you don't have to acquire it and fight for it. And that means you have to go through all the rules. You have to fight the resistance, you have to fight despair, you have to fight darkness, you have to fight selfishness. Because why? This is what we just read it for the last month. You're born, who comes with you in the beginning? The first thing, Lapetach Hatat Rovetz, the sin lies in the opening. What opening? The opening of the womb. You're just born, and we read last week, every animal being born, they know how to get away from trouble. Humans?
No.
They are so good in finding the troubles. Nobody can find the troubles better than young human beings. It's a miracle. They survive the first 20 years of their lives. Every child, you look at them and you say that's a miracle, they survive one day. Every day by itself, you have to say Hagomel. Every day that your children are still alive at this age because they are so resourceful in finding ways of danger to get themselves into real life and death danger. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people, when they reach the age of 13 or 20, they continue with the same thing about finding weird ways to kill themselves. Why? You need to have an enemy to fight. That's called the body consciousness. Yosef is not different. He was born to greatness. Still, nobody can pay the ticket for you to achieve greatness. You want greatness?
Fight for it.
You have to fight for it. You have to pay the ticket. And paying the ticket means overcoming the body consciousness. The body wants you down, and you have to lift yourself up. So simple. This is the name of the game. Okay? So Joseph, as we say, 70 years, he's already got into such a big trouble that he makes his big brothers believe he's going the way of Esau. And they want him killed. And some say, let's not kill him, let's throw him to the pit. Maybe the snakes will kill him. So we didn't do it. The snakes didn't kill him. So we send him to get rid of him, send him as a slave. Nobody comes back from slavery in Egypt. Yes, they do. Okay? Only if you transform, you make the miracle. What's a miracle? In Hebrew, the word is nes. Nes comes from the word lanus veleitnoses. To flee up and above. Lanus is to flee. Leitnoses is like a banner up and above reality. You create a miracle, everything is possible. Why? Because what's the miracle? The miracle is going against nature. What nature? Selfishness, stupidity, all what is called body consciousness. But I want it now. I need it now. I want it. I don't want to share with somebody else. It's mine. Right? Have you heard kids? Yeah. You grow older. You say the same things, but you say it in a nicer wrappings. Right? You give it all kinds of excuses, philosophical, legal, whatever. And you're still cheating in the game. You can't achieve greatness without overcoming the body consciousness. Okay? The more selfish the person is, the more involved with his own whims, the more stupid he becomes, and becomes an agent of darkness. To get himself into trouble, to get others into trouble. That's the way humans are since the beginning. Okay? Joseph has to have a big, big, big enemy in order to achieve a big victory. Right? He's so consumed with himself. He can't see that they hate him so much. He's so, like closed-circuit TV. He can't see that. He goes over them and he's such in a shock. They hate him. They want to kill him. He thought they admire him because he's so wonderful. They don't. So he finds himself in the pit. But in the moment he's in the pit, he has an awakening. He has to choose. Being a victim, because that's one of the body consciousness. Oh, you're finished, you're done, you have no hope, you're dead, they hate you, the whole world hates you, there's no way you can get out of it. This is, so what does King Solomon say? 7 times the righteous will fall and rise up again. What makes the difference between a righteous and an evil person? A righteous is the one who gets up again. It's not the one who doesn't fall. Everybody falls. He's the one who says, no, 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 no. I don't listen to you. I don't listen to that bad voice inside me. I am listening to the voice of the light. I am destined for greatness. Why? I was created in the image of God. Who? My soul. What about the body? Oh, the body is the weight to create the resistance. So you can push and get some results. And he gets to fight. How do we know he gets to fight? We spoke about it last week. He comes to Egypt. He's so successful. But why? If he was a victim, he was not able to be successful. If that's where the light put me, I'll do my best wherever I am. This is the story of being a winner. Yeah, but I'm supposed to be the president. And they gave me just a simple job in the... If that's a job that you got, do it as a king. If you do it as a king, you get a better job. Or you turn your job a job of kings. There are people like this. But they are slaves. Whatever job they get, they do it as slaves. And that creates a lot of trouble, right? Can you imagine what happens when somebody with a slave consciousness becomes a CEO of a company? What a disaster. Tachad eved ki imloch. What makes the world upset, says the Bible, when the slave becomes a king? Which means he has the crown, he's a king, but he has a slave consciousness. He's a slave to his body consciousness. He's a slave to his little petty desires. Oh, but people with body consciousness, they have big desires. Big desires for what? How much money can you have? All the money in the world? Is that endless? No, it's limited. How much power can you have? ruling all over people in the world, that's limited. But if you want the light of the Creator, how much light can you receive?
Endless.
Endless. So when you are under the rulership of your body, you want finite things. You know what? Your soul will never get satiated from final things. You eat and you eat and you eat, you get very fat and you're still hungry. Okay? You get more and more money and it's never enough. Why? Because it's not satiating. It's not satiating. It's only an illusion of satiation. It comes in, stays 10 minutes, an hour, and then you have the morning after. Then you get, it doesn't stay. Why? Because it's never the solution. So Joseph, and that's the story. Joseph, and that's what the question is. He stayed, why did he stay 10 years in jail? Why did he have to go for 2 more years into jail? So there are many midrashim about it. And to make it clear and very simple, Joseph knows what his destiny is. He knows what he has to do. He knows that he cannot let those physical things, especially in Egypt, that Egypt was the place in the world for materialism, sexuality, all what the body is, that you get a high and a buy. It fulfills you for a minute, and then you're empty, and you're asking for more, and it's never enough. Never enough. So it's becoming painful, and you need drugs, alcohol, it's called addictions. Strong people are not addicted. Why? Because they have the power to be creators of their own lives. So they don't let not the money and not sex and not food control their lives. That's strength. How do you get strength? How can you eliminate the body consciousness from controlling you? Oh, there's one way and only one way. And the Zohar says, Mikkets. What is Mikkets? So, you go to the book of Job, 28, verse 3. Mikkets sam lachoshech. You put a ketz, a demise, to the darkness. How do you drive away darkness? You come into a room and it was dark for many, many years. You turn on the light. What happens to the darkness? Where does it go? Nobody cares. How long does it take for the light to go? Well, he was there for a long time. He has to pack his belongings. No, the darkness goes in no time. That's Mikkets. The darkness was gone, and in no time, the moment it was time to go. That moment, everything turned around. And we have a little story. At the end of the story, Joseph, from being in the pit of the pit of the pit, because he's a Hebrew slave in a Egyptian jail. Can't get worse than that. But that's how he wakes up that morning. He goes to sleep in the king's bed, wearing the king's pajamas, right? With the title of the king and with a ring of the king on his finger. You know what does it mean, a ring of the king? You have their signage, the right of signing. He doesn't need anyone else to sign all the rules. He makes the rules, he signs them, and no one else needs to look at it and sign it. He has a single right to sign any orders and laws in Egypt. How long did that take? It took all the way, since he was 17, took overnight success after many years of hard work. He was never tired. Why? Because being tired was not an option. You want to be Yosef Tzaddik? You want to be a king? It's not an option to be tired. You push and you push and you push an extra mile and another extra mile. How many? You have no idea how many. When it will be the last one, they will tell you. So, Joseph knows the moment he's in the pit. If I'm in the pit, is the creation of the light. It's not my brothers. It's the biggest gift I had. That's how Joseph looks at it. I had to wake up, and that was the only thing to wake me up. Because I had the snakes around me and the scorpions. I had to choose life. And in no time, he chooses the tree of life. He's not a complainer anymore. He's not keeping any grudge because he wants to live and he wants to be Joseph, the righteous. And he can't be a winner and complain about everyone and gossip about others. And he can't. It doesn't go together. It's not the same frequency. It's not even the same planet. It's not even the same solar system. It's a different universe. You have to choose. Each one of us has to choose, sometimes a few times a day, which universe you want to belong to. The big universe of the tree of life, or the universe of the tree of knowledge, good and evil, good and evil. Look, he has it, it's good, it's evil. God, where is justice? Why it's good for him and bad for him? I can't understand it. Why you can't understand it? You don't want to understand it. It's not that you can't understand it. Most people are smart enough to understand it, but they don't want to understand it. Why? Because with the understanding coming the responsibility. If you're not a winner, you don't want to be responsible. You like to blame others. You like to blame God. He chooses. So now he's a slave in Egypt, but he chooses to be the king of what he's doing every day. That's why whatever he touches, God makes it happen. And then he comes to the position that he's running the business of Potiphar. And he's beautiful. He's one of the 7 most beautiful men ever walked on earth. And he has a little problem because the wife of Potiphar, she's one of the 7 most beautiful women that ever lived on earth. He knows he's in Egypt. He knows that Egypt is not a very nice place for spiritual people. They don't teach that in schools, but Egypt was full of all kinds of terrible stuff that are rated materials. But that was in the public domain. So Joseph is really working hard not to look down, to do his job, to be focused doing the job and stay away from trouble. And he's doing his job. And he's like doing that knowing I'm doing my best and God will be doing the rest. And my best is overcome my loss, overcome my grudge, overcome my laziness, overcome stupidity, overcome whims, you have to fight your body consciousness. There's no other fight. Yeah, but that person is not right. Somebody called me today. Yeah, the guy said this and this. Look, you're not here to be right. Yes, you're right. He's wrong. Getting out right will help your project. You're doing right now a project that is very important. And this stupid, egocentric person has the key. Saying, I'm sorry and I apologize because you misbehaved last week. It's going to cost you what? Nothing. Just give it up. You're not here to be right. You're here to bring the light. And when you bring the light, you overcome your own body consciousness, not his body consciousness. You can't do it for him. You have to do it only for yourself. Oh, so you're upset. You're willing right now to burn the whole thing? Yours and his? Just because all the project that you've built, you're going to be right and he's going to shut down your project. What good will you get what you're going to get for that? Nothing. Get out of it. And we are not here by anything. It's overcoming the negativity. And how you overcome the negativity? By bringing in positivity, the light. When Joseph is trying to run away from the wife of Potiphar, she's like hunting for him. She makes sure that one day nobody's home, gets him to her bedroom, and he's with his back to the wall, and he simply sneaks out of his clothes and runs away, leaving the clothes in her hand. Okay? But there's a problem. You know, how old was he? He was around 20.
Yeah.
You know, when the hormones are, and he's a beautiful boy and he's healthy and so on. And she touches him. And he's excited. He runs away because he's sticking to his values. But still, there was a body thing over there. And that body thing created that he lost 10 holy sparks of light at that moment. He knew that. He knew that he has to pay for it. So he knew he has to be in jail for 10 years, one for each holy spark. Was he sitting in jail mourning and crying and sobbing? No. He immediately became the king of jail. Right? He did the best. Why? Because by working hard and doing your best, that's the easiest way to break your body consciousness. Your body wants to complain? You know what? I'll work harder. Your body wants to be upset? I'm going to be nicer to people. You spite your body till your body's getting tired. Not till you are getting tired. When your body gets tired, you know what happens? Try it. You just work hard and you do everything for one purpose. Tire your body so your soul can be free. When your body is letting go because he's too tired, fighting, he stops putting the screens in front of you. The screens of doubt, the screens of hate, the screens of being a victim. All of those emotional screens that basically do not let you see the real world. You know what happens when you tire your body and the screens are gone? You're free. What do you feel? Heaven. Suddenly you have this stupid, foolish, unexplained sense of excitement and happiness, and you don't need any reason for that. Why? Because you're simply free. It's not because you made money. It's not because somebody that you had a fight you fought with said, I'm sorry, I apologize, I was wrong. No. Out of nowhere, you become so happy. Like on drugs. But this is the real one. Because you just turned and became free. And then you see everything the way it is. Because you're free. Without all the noise of your body consciousness. For 10 years, Joseph worked for it. And 10 years later, the time has come. How does he know? Here they are, the two celebrities, the wine steward and Pharaoh's baker. They're coming in, and they have a dream. And let's see the words. And they have a dream. Each one of them has another dream, and what they tell the dreams to Joseph, and Joseph is giving them the interpretation. And when he sees the dream, of the wine steward, Joseph was already in an amazing place. He worked 10 more years for that in jail. And it says, the wine steward says, and I see my dream, a vine. And then and in the end of it, Joseph says as follows. In 3 days, that's verse 13, chapter 40. בעוד 3 ימים, in 3 days, יישא פרעה את ראשך ושבך על קניך. In 3 days, Pharaoh is going to lift your head and get you back on your position. 3 days. ונתת כוס פרעה בידו כמשפט הראשון, and you will give the cup in Pharaoh's hand, like it used to be your habit. However, verse 14, please remember me when it's going to be good for you all over again, and do with me this grace, and remind my name to Pharaoh, and get me out of this place. Because I was stolen from the land of the Hebrews, And even here, I didn't do anything that they put me in the pit. The moment he said it, he just, what have I done? And there's a whole discussion about it. Why? Was it wrong for him to say it? No, it was not wrong for him to say it. It was okay. Everybody has to make the effort to get himself out of. But the question is what is not what you say or what you do. The question is the melody, the tune. Now, are you doing whatever you're supposed to do, but you don't know how it's going to happen, but you know that the light of God is the only thing that runs this universe, and everything is for the good. You just have to do your best, remember? And give the space for God to do the rest. That is the deal. So, but for a lot of people, the Zohar says it's the other way round. You do your best and you trust God just in case. You understand what I'm saying? Your trust in God is to get by. In case there is a God, I trust him. But do you really trust who? That guy that you right now, I have to make this guy do it, because if he's not going to do it, I'm doomed. And you make this guy to become your idol. Who makes it? Your body consciousness. Because our body needs something physical. This person is going to do it. How do you know? How many people in our lives we trust to deliver and they did not? How many? Or so many. If you're human, that's what you do. You trust people and they betray your trust. Why? Because people can't do it for you. When it's time for the thing to be done, the Talmud says the right person will do it for you. Who? It's not your choice. But if it's in order to do something of light, it will be a person of light that will do it for you. And if it's something of darkness, it will be a person of darkness that will do it for you. מגלגלים זכות על ידי זכאי וחובה על ידי חייב. Okay? And you are not going to be the one that is going to appoint the person to do it for you. You are just going, and so, if you're really spiritual, if you're really connected to the light of the Creator and you work on being a creator of your own and a creature of light, you know that you have to do your best, right? And you have to do whatever it seems to be right, but you have no idea how the solution is going to come. And where is it going to come from? Because the logic that got you into the trouble won't get you out of it. So you can't get the solution with the same logic that created the problem. So you're doing it to get by. But you know whatever is going to make it is when the time is right, then the light will come in. And boom. What happens when the light comes in? The darkness goes away. How does it go away? Suddenly, one person comes, all of these things that people experience of like, this is unbelievable. This is impossible. You know what are you saying when you say it's unbelievable and it's impossible? I'm stupid. Why? Usually when do you say it? After it happened. If it's happened, it's possible, correct? So why saying it's impossible? No, your brain says, your body consciousness says it's impossible. I'm in total denial because in my world, that cannot happen. I have some news for you. Your world is so tiny, so dark and so stuffy. And God bless you. You're free. You got out of that stuffy world. And your body is saying, no, but that's impossible. It can't be. It happened. It happened. You got out of the dungeon. Let go. Say thank you. Move on. Don't argue with that. Don't argue with that. That's called the quantum leap. The quantupling means that you leapt high up and above. You created a miracle. Good, congratulations. You've just experienced a miracle. And miracles are illogical, are impossible. Otherwise, there are no miracles. Okay, you performed a miracle. Okay? Joseph knew that he has to perform a miracle. He realized 10 years are over, and he failed the test. You have no idea how you're going to get out of jail. And you can't appoint someone to be the deliverer for you. You have to do your best just to get by. But the real best is simply your connection to the light of the Creator and overcoming. The moment that Joseph realized, he said, "Zchartani itach," remember me. He said it was a needy. He was in need. And he says, "And you will remind me to Pharaoh." The 2 times the word to remember appeared over there. You will remember me and you'll get me out of here by saying it to Pharaoh, and he will get me out of here. 2 mistakes. The story ends in that parasha, Vayeshev, okay? Chapter 40, verse 23. Velo zachar Sarah mashkim et Yosef, and the wine steward did not remember Joseph. Vayishkacheu, and he forgot him. Why do you need to say it twice? It's redundant. So the Midrash is saying, Joseph said at that moment, I made a mistake, I'm not ready. I didn't overcome yet. I thought I'm ready. I realize I'm not. I had a dependency in Pharaoh, in the wine steward. I made them my redeemers. I made them my gods. Unacceptable. If I get out now of jail, I'm not ready. And power corrupts. I'll be corrupted by the power. I'm already dependent on Pharaoh and the wine steward. I can't get out. I can't be a king when I owe to people. I owe only to one person, the Creator himself. It's not a person. That's it. What I mean I owe, I know is that's a source of the only true power. That's the only source. No other sources. All the rest are untrue forces. They're not powers, they're weaknesses. The moment you depend on it. He knew he made a mistake. From that moment on, says the Midrash, every night the wine steward was going to sleep. He said, I forgot again. I promised that boy in jail that I'm going to get him out. How did I do that? How did I promise? He's so impressive. He must get out of there. And he started to make for him all kinds of a note and things, how to get to remember. But every morning, Joseph got up earlier in the morning and prayed, please God, make him forget. He didn't see the note. He didn't see the nut. He always, for 2 years, day by day, Joseph prayed, please God. So Vaishkacheu, says Baal HaTurim, it's like Vaishkacheu. It's not that he forgot him. Joseph made him forget. 2 years were over, one for each word. And Joseph said, okay, the light, I think I'm ready. Am I ready? That night, Pharaoh had a dream. That morning, the wine steward was in shock. He remembered Joseph, and he was next to Pharaoh. And Pharaoh is frustrated because all the wizards and all the wise men of Egypt come to him and try to interpret the dream, and they can't. They can't. Because whatever they say, Pharaoh says, that's so stupid. I never had such a stupid interpretation in my life. Don't you have something else? Why do I pay you so much money? You know, those wise people, when it's just real trouble, they're wise in getting the salary, convincing you they deserve it. Okay? He's frustrated. And you know what? Kings getting frustrated, they start to kill people. And the viceroy said, oh, my dear Lord Pharaoh, I want to remind you, one day, Pharaoh was upset about me and the baker. And he sent me to jail. And over there, we had a dream. And then he says, the way that Joseph interpreted the dream, that happened. He hung up the baker and he brought me back into my position. Pharaoh says, bring him over immediately. He knows this is the it. What do we understand? That's what the Zohar says. Mikkets shnatayim, Mikkets sam lachoshech. He puts a demise and end, a complete finish to the darkness. How? With bringing in the light. What is our job in this world? To put an end to the darkness. Who creates the darkness? Our imagination, our whims, our desires, our emotions. That's the only thing that creates the darkness, because how much light is there? Endless light everywhere, all the time. What do I need to do? I just have to put that end to the darkness. Who creates the darkness? Those are the veils of my body consciousness. It's called anger, frustration, tiredness, whatever. All of those emotions that are reactive and negative and of victim. And so what is the only source? You are in trouble, you can't see the light, you can't see the solution. Why can't you see the solution? Because it's dark. It's dark. Who created that darkness? Our body consciousness. How do I get over that consciousness? That's the story of Joseph. First, knowing there's light in the end of the tunnel. Second, knowing that there's no other solution. You have to get to that light. If you're not getting it now, you'll have to do it tomorrow, the next year, next lifetime, next lifetime. You're going to have to face that darkness again and again till you say, enough is enough. I choose the light. I choose the light not by default, not because I didn't have any other choice. I choose the light because I chose the light and I focus and I make it work because I have no other, because the other solutions are not, they're not solutions.
Not an option.
They are not options. So says the Zohar, Ket sam lachoshech zeu ket shel hasmol. This is the end of the left. What is the left? Left column, that's desire to receive. You know, you have to, how do you put an end to it? By turning it into desire to receive for the sake of sharing. What's it for the sake of sharing? The only way I'm receiving anything, any pleasure, is for one purpose. It connects me to the endless light of the Creator. Anything else is simply delaying the redemption. Simply delaying the redemption. What is the left, says the Zohar? This is the left that is not included with the right. It has another name, Satan. Satan in Hebrew means disturbance. All of those thoughts, all of those emotions, they are screens of disturbance that do not allow us to see the real light. It's all illusion. It's there till you kill it. You don't kill it, it's going to stay there. And be your Satan. What does it mean in Hebrew? Be your obstacle. The moment you overcome, how do you overcome? You kill the Satan. Satan is not someone out there. He's not a freelance. He's there because he is the ticket for our redemption. He's the ticket for our freedom. He's the ticket for greatness. Without him, we have no greatness and we have no freedom. We have no light and we have no fulfillment. We need him. But we need him dead after we killed him. No one can kill him for us. But if you don't fight him and kill him, you can't get the greatness that you are destined for since you're born. Okay? And this Satan is wandering around the world, and his job is to make people sin. Why? Because if you don't overcome that urge to sin, you cannot achieve greatness. People don't get greatness in the mail or by email. Oh, we decided to make you great. Oops, you become great. Greatness comes with blood, sweat, and tears. Okay? When you overcome that and you conquer that blood, sweat, and tears, you endure and you tolerate it, and you say, that was the price and I enjoyed paying the price because it's worth it. You win. Because then Satan comes to you and says, boom! Say, oh, nice try. He has no screens anymore. And you can see suddenly through the screens, you see the real reality. You see the endless light. You see how everything got together. How everything that happened led to that position and that point that God was with you every second, every moment. And it was all just a plan to get you into greatness. So, is there a place for grudge? Is there a place for pain? No place anymore. As Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai is coming out of the cave and his skin is full of sores, being there lying in the dirt for 13 years, and his father-in-law sees him and he starts to cry. He says, oh my, how did I see you like this? And Rabbi Shimon says, if you didn't see me like this, I wasn't like this. That was a price. You know what? That was nothing. That was nothing. I gave the price of like discomfort for 13 years and I got the Zohar in return. You kidding? That was cheap. I take it with both hands. I will go for another 13 years if I should. I don't have to, but that's what I needed. Never ever complain about the price because you have to pay more. Right? Joseph had 10 years. He kind of complained. 2 more years. Why? You want to be the great winner king or not? Do you want? You can't be a victim. You can't blame. You can't grudge. Keep the grudge. Doesn't go together with kingdom. And every person is destined for that. And it says, "Velechol tachlitu choker." Okay, all of that. There is a purpose for that. There is a purpose for everything that happens to us. Oh, that person, he upset me. He upset you? No, you chose to get upset. Your job was supposed not to get upset, to overcome that. You just missed the lesson, so you'll need to go through that all over again. 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. You know, it's like going through a driving license test. Fail again and again and again and again. How do you know you passed the test? You see that person and you're so happy to see that person because whatever he's going to do, it's not going to change your freedom. Your sense, I'm free, I'm with the light, and no one can take it away from me. What happens to our IQ when we're in that place? We are kings right now. We can bring stuff from out of the box anytime it needed because we are not connected to that world of stupidity. Why Parashat Mikkets is always connected to Hanukkah? Always being read on Hanukkah. Oh, now it's very simple. It's to put an end to the darkness. How? By bringing in the light. So some people say, oh, that was a miracle. There was the bad Greeks. They wanted to enslave the Jews and to stop them from being Jewish and to convert them into Hellenism and stuff like this. And we fought and we won and we got independence. Is independence, political independence, a goal? No. It is a mean. Nobody wanted to be independent. There were like few hundred years the Jews lived in Israel and they were not independent. And you know what? They had no problem with that. Why? Because when they were under Persian rule, the Persians didn't bother You could do whatever, as long as you pay your taxes, that's okay. So the Jews just planted trees, built houses, and so on, paid their dues, and they were happy about it, and nobody was about independence. Why? Because they were independent. They just did whatever they wanted. On the spiritual realm, they built a new culture, that's the culture of Second Temple. Came Alexander the Great, and he gave them again the autonomy. No, as long as you pay your taxes, nobody will touch you. That was fine. That was fine also with his heirs, of Alexander the Great, till came Antiochus. Antiochus, he was in trouble, right? The Romans were threatening from the west, and he wanted his kingdom to get united under the same flag. And there was these troublemakers, the Jews. They didn't want to be like the Greeks. Philosophically, they were exactly the opposite. Because Hellenism was just about whatever you see, what you get. You worship your senses. Everything has to be perfectly beautiful. Your body, your cities, your homes, the pools, the gyms, everything was about, people went to the gym every day because your body has to look perfect. People had to sing perfectly. Everything was about the five senses and the pleasure of the physical body. How did the Jews look at it? What? This is nonsense. This is nonsense. Oh, you should be healthy. That's not the real thing, but that's, you should be healthy. You should have a nice home. Your home should be clean. The city should be clean. All of that. That's not a goal. That's not going to fulfill you. What happened? Are you stupid or something? We're here for one purpose. Remember, one of, if not the most successful books that was written lately, Harry Potter. It speaks about two kinds of people: wizards and muggles. Muggles are human beings without magic, without charm. Like, they have the charm of a cardboard. They just get up in the morning, they do their errands, they do their stuff, they build a family, they pay the dues, send the kids to school, get degrees and stuff like this, get a job, and so on, goes on like this. They're muggles. And they're the wizards. They have magic. They can turn things into magic, anything. They can control matter. They can change things. They can bring the atmosphere and the energy of magic into everything they do. And people read the books and went by billions to the movies. Which people sided? The muggles or the wizards? The wizards. But you're a muggle. How come you're supposed to side the muggles that the wizards are mocking all the time? Oh, these are like charmless people. You should be assaulted, feel like this is abusing our life. Why? Because deep inside, every one of us was born to be a wizard. You can't be a wizard when you worship your body, when you worship your money, when you worship your house and your car and your belongings and all the tchotchkes you are collecting for that you bought in special sale on Black Friday. Okay, all of that stuff, that is boring for your soul. But that's what your body wants. No, you should have belongings. You have to have that's the most important thing. That's what's going to give you pleasure. And when the Greeks came to the Jews and said, guys, there's nothing, just a body. You can't do all of that stuff. You can't keep Shabbat. There's no bigger magic than Shabbat. Shabbat is bringing the magic into everything in life, to your home, to your food, to your clothes, to your body. Even everything becomes sparkling with magic on Shabbat. Just like the Shabbat candles. You are already in that world of magic. Every second till the end of Shabbat. And then the Greek says you can't have Shabbat. And when you study Torah, you don't study Torah because it's interesting. It's not an encyclopedia. It's not a soap opera. What is the Torah about? It's how to train your brain to connect to magic every second of your life in a body. It's like the Creator threw us into this pit of physicality. He gave us this ladder. It's called the Torah. You know, the Torah was given on Mount Sinai. Sinai, in numerical value, is sulam, a ladder. That's a ladder to get out of the pit. You're messed up, you're fed up, you're too tired from the pit, get out of it. So you don't study because it's tradition. Oh, that's my identity as a nation. Stupid, says the Zohar. Stupid, stupid, stupid. This is magic. How are you going to train your brain to become a magician? To put this magic in everything you do. To bring in magical light of endless into everything you touch and you see. That's what the Torah is teaching you to do. So when the Greeks said, oh, we want you guys. You will be like us. Muggles. Many Jews, well, they were Muggles even before that. They just gave up. You know, that's tradition, nice tradition. But, oh, the Greeks have a marvelous tradition. Their gods are so marvelous looking. And their temples are so beautiful and big and full of them. And the music and the dancing and the gyms and the stadium and the sport. Wow, it's so interesting to be Greek, to be Hellenistic. Why? Because to be a wizard, you need to take responsibility for everything you feel, everything you think. It's a hard work to be a wizard. You need to concentrate. Read Harry Potter. It's not coming just like this. You have to concentrate. You have to take responsibility. You can't blame others. You have to make it happen. And it all depends on your will to connect to beyond your five senses brain. Even if you're born with that touch, you have to develop it. It doesn't happen just like this. And then came those days that the Greeks did not leave any option. People ran away from the big cities. So they hid in the villages, in the mountains. And then the Greeks were after them. And there were hundreds hiding in a big cave doing Shabbat. And the Greeks came in and said, either you convert or we kill you. And they said, okay, so it's over. We'll try another time. Kill us. Why not? What are you offering us? This tasteless muggle life without any charm, without any magic, without any light, just physical dark bodies? The legend says that when the fetus is in the womb, they don't have the darkness. Remember what we said? The sin lies in the gate, in the opening. Right. Only when you get out at the birth canal, or you're being born, then it comes. But before that, you're free. And you see all the secrets of the universe. And then you're born into this body. Have you seen a little baby the few days after they're born? What's that? This is horrible. It's like, where am I? It's tasteless. It's like, what is this horrible place? Where? It's like disgusting. You saw the faces of a baby the first few days, first few weeks. They're disgusted. And then they get used to it. And then, not just getting used to it, you think that it's the only thing. And you forget about the magic. Deep inside you do remember. Because when somebody reminds you that, like a book or a movie, how many books and how many movies of fantasy? Nowadays, science, everything is so advanced. And people go like crazy to movies about magic. Because they're hungry for the real magic. So the moment people said, I prefer to be dead, not to be in the dungeon of the body without the magic of the Torah and Shabbat and the mitzvot. Just kill me. Women with circumcised sons get on the walls of Jerusalem and jump from the wall with the babies. If you can't give them a life, a real life, there's no worth of living anymore. There was a whole wave of passive resistance. We don't want it anymore. If you can't be like that, we can't be. There's no use to it. And then came the rebellion. The rebellion came, think about it, a whole nation that did not hold weapons for centuries over centuries. They just wanted to stay alive. And suddenly they were fighting, and it worked. Whatever Joseph was doing, God made it successful. That was the magic. They wanted to be free. Not free from another government. They wanted to be free from the body. They didn't want to be slaves to that dense physical body. It's like they didn't want to live in a society that says to you, oh, you are angry, you have to connect to your anger and you have to feel your anger. No, I want to put an end to the darkness and to connect to happiness. That can happen only when I bring in the light. And all of these devices like Shabbat and the Torah and the mitzvot, they are devices to bring in the light. They're not religion that God had nothing to do, but you have to do this and you have to do this. How many Jews still do? It's tradition. No, it's God's will. Why did God tell you to eat kosher? I don't know. I'm not supposed to know. I have to do it because God says so. That's the same stupidity. Says the Zohar. Says the Arizal. Because the Arizal is saying whenever you perform a mitzvah, whenever you study Torah, and you're not concentrating on bringing the magical light of God and instill it into every physical stuff in you and around you, what are you doing? Wasting your time. You do what? God doesn't need you to do these rituals. What for? There's nothing else to do, just to tell you to do all kinds of difficult stuff. These are the tools to bring the magic in. And they made it happen. So what is the major thing about Hanukkah? It says that a miracle happened and they were shocked. They won against the most professional, biggest army in the world. And they were not professionals, they were not even amateurs. They were not people that fight. For centuries, they didn't know how to fight. They had no need. They fought, they did their best, and God did the rest. Suddenly they found themselves on the 25th of Kislev, 3 years exactly after the Greeks put their God in the temple. On that day, they made the tikkun. And they were in the temple, and they could light the menorah. And they could light any oil. They said, no, if we came up to here, we want that magical oil that the Greeks did not defile. You know what, when you want it like clean, just without the body saying, it's impossible, how are you going to find it? You do find it. That's what miracles are. Not to do the possible, to do impossible. They found a jar of oil. Somehow the Greeks couldn't find it. And that jar of oil lasted for 8 days, because it took 8 days to make new oil. Everybody celebrated for these 8 days. What a miracle. It's like we did it. We are free. We're free to connect to the light any way we want. A year passed by, and the sages of that generation waited to see, would that light come again? You know, a holiday in Hebrew is called Chag. Chag in Hebrew means making a circle. You know, remember the rotary dial? In Hebrew it's called Chuga, because it makes a circle. Okay. Chag means simply the verb making a circle. Chag b'ma'agal. So, the question is like this: if the whole universe is like a disk, when it makes a whole circle, if there is an impression on that spot on the disk, the same song will be played again. They waited for another year, and the song was playing. And they said, we created a holiday. The energy that was created on that day, 25th of Kislev, some 2,200 years ago, was so strong that it left an impression on the disk, on the universe. And every year when it's the 25th day of the month of Kislev, the same music is being played for 8 days. And now the question is, how do you bring it in? Because how does the Torah call a holiday? Mikra Kodesh, which translates in simple Hebrew to call in, likro, the holiness, the Kodesh. How do you call it in? So on Rosh Hashanah you call it in with the shofar. Yom Kippur, prayers and fasting. Sukkot, sukkah, lulav, and etrog, right? You have for every holiday, you have the device to call it in. How do you call it in? Very simple. What was the fight about? The ability to bring the endless light of God from the endless down to everything you touch, see, and experience. And what's the most important tool for that? A candle. Because it says, Ner Hashem Nishmat Adam. The human soul is God's candle. The human soul is God's candle. Why do we put a cover for our head? Because the flame needs something to hold on to. Same way the wick, the head cover, is what the flame is holding on to. But that's the flame that you're carrying wherever you go. Consciousness does that first. So that's why you have to light the Hanukkah menorah where, if you read the law, low. Why low? Because you have to be standing, holding the candle in your hand, in your right hand. You say the blessing and you bring the candle down to light the menorah below. Because you're bringing the endless light, the magic, and you bring it down to light the physical world. That's what Hanukkah is about. This is the purpose. This is the thing. And so for us, this is the way to turn the magic on. If you think you're muggle, there's no magic in your life. This is the time to pray for it every time you light the Hanukkah candle for 8 days. You can turn back into a wizard. Good luck, Shavua Tov, and happy Hanukkah.